2017年嘅第11條題目呢，就係寫文啦。今次呢個主題係關於人體嘅運輸系統嘅。咁啊睇一睇題目先啦。有啲自然治療師就聲稱啦，沿住四肢向住軀幹方向施壓，即係去按摩一下啦，就能夠改善到淋巴液嘅循環啦，同埋達至減輕體重嘅效果嘅，亦即係坊間所講嘅通淋巴啦。咁啊，但係呢個治療嘅成效呢，就極具爭議性嘅。咁啊，簡述一下啦，淋巴液係點樣由個血液嗰度形成啦，同埋淋巴液又點樣翻去血液嘅循環系統嘅。而第二部分呢，就係就住以上嘅每一項嘅聲稱，即係話透過去按摩啊、通淋巴啊，就能夠改善淋巴液嘅循環啦，同埋達至減輕體重嘅效果，就要討論一下佢哋喺科學上面嘅合理性啦。今日入題目之前呢，又經過翻3部曲咯。第一啦，有冇咩嘅 keywords 呢？沿住個四肢向住軀幹方向去施壓啦，淋巴液嘅循環啦，減輕體重啦，淋巴液點樣喺個血液度形成啦，而淋巴液又點樣翻去血液嘅循環系統啦。第二步啦，落筆之前要審一審題，有啲咩嘢要寫，有啲咩嘢可以唔使寫咁多呢？咁啊，最基本就係成個循環嘅機制啦，點樣產生淋巴液啦，淋巴液點樣翻去血液循環系統啦。你有印象嘅話，淋巴液其實佢係源自於組織液嘅，咁組織液點樣產生呢？組織液又點樣翻去循環系統呢？呢一 part 你可以着墨冇咁多嘅。直頭唔寫其實都冇乜太大影響，因為你只要講得出製造咗組織液，而組織液一部分係會變成淋巴液呢，其實都已經答得到題目噶啦。第二部分呢，就要講有關於治療嘅有效性啦。咁我哋當中就要去講翻啦淋巴管嘅特徵啦，我哋嘅骨骼肌肉喺對於整個嘅淋巴液嘅循環啦，有冇角色喺入面啦？由於我哋要講有關於減輕體重，咁所以我哋個人嘅身體嘅能量輸入同埋能量輸出有冇咩嘅關係呢？去到第3部分啦，整體嘅答題鷹架啦，點樣可以有系統咁表達我哋嘅概念呢？第一部分呢，一定要講翻淋巴液係點樣喺個血液入面形成咯，同埋翻去血液循環系統嘅。所以對於整個機制呢，我哋要成個故事去講一次嘅。咁當中有啲咩身體部分啊、組織啊係牽涉喺其中呢？而第二部分呢，就正如頭先我所講啦，我哋就要利用翻科學理論啦，去審視一下究竟呢個自然療法按壓啊、通淋巴係咪真係做到頭先所講嘅效果啦？咁所以呢一部分呢，係好似通識嘅手段目的題啊。究竟我哋做咗呢個手段係咪就能夠達到呢個效果呢？咁經過簡單提示之後呢，大家就快手 download 翻份筆記呢，我哋一齊入題目咯噃。咁啊，第一 part 啦，我哋要講下淋巴液點樣喺個血液形成啦，點樣翻血液循環系統啦。咁成條題目咧就考緊我哋啦，有關於組織液啦，同埋淋巴液嘅產生，同埋佢哋點樣翻去血液循環系統嘅。咁所以有啲重要嘅概念咧，我哋都要講嘅，血壓啦、水壓啦、滲透啦，喺整個過程當中，無論係形成，即係話係翻去血液循環系統啦，究竟有冇咩嘅角色咧？有冇咩重要性咧？好，咁而家啦，成個故事我哋由最尾開始講，就係淋巴液翻去血液循環系統。咁我哋就要諗下淋巴液翻去之前佢就被產生啊嘛。咁淋巴液點樣喺個組織液嗰度被產生出嚟呢？而組織液又點樣喺我哋嘅血嗰度產生出嚟呢？咁呢個先能夠答得到淋巴液如何從血液形成啊嘛。原來個起點係血液啊嘛，個終點就係淋巴液翻去血液循環啊嘛。咁所以呢條題目呢係反轉嚟諗，但係我哋要順翻住嚟寫嘅。好多同學呢點解成日覺得BIO係死背呢？係因為佢哋永遠就係由頭開始講。但係其實呢個問題，只要你由尾翻去前面呢，你反轉去諗呢，其實係豁然開朗啊！你唔需要再死記硬背噶啦，已經。咁首先我哋順翻住嚟表達咯。組織液係點樣由個血液嗰度產生嘅呢？就係講緊啦，喺個微血管近住小動脈嘅末端，小動脈嘅內腔呢係比微血管嘅內腔為之大嘅。咁所以而家係一個大路入細路嘅狀態。就係你就幻想下，好似我哋玩水喉呢，你撳條水喉，啲水咪射出嚟咯。就即係話啦，喺微血管入面呢，會形成一個高壓。而由於微血管壁呢，佢係有滲透性嘅，有一啲細粒嘅嘢呢，就會俾呢個高嘅血壓、高嘅水壓呢去逼咗出嚟啦。咁呢個呢，就係形成咗組織液，入面有啲咩嘢呢？水啦、鹽啦、糖啦、氨基酸啦，諸如此類呢啲細粒嘅物質。 而一啲相對上大粒嘅物質啦，例如紅血球啦、血漿蛋白啦，佢哋咧就會殘留喺個微血管入面，就繼續向前運送啦。而呢一步咧就引申落去第二部分啦，就係喺個組織液，我哋點樣形成淋巴液呢？咁由於喺組織液入面嘅水分呢，佢哋都會經過翻滲透翻去微血管嘅。因為建基於喺個微血管入面嘅血啦，佢哋嘅血漿蛋白咧係會令到我哋嘅血咧嘅水勢為之下降。咁相對上啦，喺組織液嘅水咧嘅水勢咧就會為之高，所以啲水咧就會經過滲透翻去。但係呢個唔係我哋嘅重點，我哋嘅重點係形成淋巴液。有部分嘅水係會翻血管 ，OK， 而剩餘落嚟過多嘅組織液就會進入淋巴管，而推動佢哋進入淋巴管嘅原因呢，就係喺組織液嘅水壓啦。呢度一定唔係血壓喎，你要留意下喎，係 hydrostatic pressure 而唔係 blood pressure 喎。咁所以啦，過多嘅組織液入到去淋巴微管，再進入淋巴管呢，佢哋就變成淋巴液啦。咁我哋最後一步啦，咁淋巴液又點樣翻去血液循環系統呢？我哋就諗下啦，喺個淋巴管呢，其實佢都非常之遠離心臟噶啦，佢嗰個壓力咧一定係好細噶啦，所以啦，佢哋係需要透過骨骼肌嘅收縮啦去協助嘅，從而啦去按壓我哋嘅淋巴管，就令到呢啲淋巴繼續向前行嘅。同一時間啦，淋巴管你都見得到啦，佢有反膜嘅，就避免到咧淋巴液嘅倒流啦。所以啦 keep 住支嘅話咧，淋巴液就會翻到終點，就係我哋嘅心臟啦。好，跟住啦就到第二部分咯。究竟呢個自然療法究竟做唔做得到改善淋巴液嘅循環同埋減輕體重呢？咁我哋先解決第一個啦，手段目的。今次嘅目的就係改善淋巴循環啦。咁呢幅圖呢，就係想話俾大家聽，淋巴液呢，佢哋嘅走向啦，向上走啦或者向下走啦，就會翻去心臟嘅。咁究竟啦按壓係咪真係幫到手呢？呢條題目呢，考我哋幾樣嘢嘅。第一啦，我哋就要知道翻整個淋巴系統佢係冇一個泵嘅機制，即係唔會嘣嘣嘣去推佢行嘅。佢唔似血液呢，有心臟呢個器官去拱佢哋出去。淋巴系統就係喺個身體嘅唔同部分去將呢啲過多嘅組織液運翻去個心臟嗰處。而當中啦，整個淋巴管啦有啲咩嘅適應性特徵係可以幫到我哋運送翻淋巴液翻去血液循環系統呢？第一個啦就係有反膜啦，佢就可以避免到淋巴液嘅倒流啦。第二啦就係有骨骼肌肉咧去包圍住我哋嘅淋巴管，而當呢個肌肉咧收縮嘅時候就會按壓到淋巴管啦。咁兩者功能結合咧，其實就係確保到淋巴液咧係以一個單一方向返回心臟嘅。好，咁講完基本概念之後咧，你就會問啦，喂梁 Sir，咁究竟通淋巴按壓呢個方法 work 唔 work 㗎？其實講到你呢度咧，你都會明白啦。梁 Sir 將要講嘅就係生物哲學啦。通淋巴呢個方法根本就唔係講緊有冇效嘅問題，而係個效果明唔明顯嘅問題。嗱，留意下，當你答呢個題目嘅時候，好多同學咧就會覺得咧，佢係有效定冇效？唔係，你應該答緊嘅係有幾有效，或者其實有幾冇效，從而使用科學理論去探討通淋巴喺科學上面嘅合理性。所以啦，你可以先講嘅就係合理㗎。咁啊，因為啦，淋巴管入面已經有反膜，係避免咗咧淋巴液嘅倒流嘅。咁而家我哋喺外在肌肉嘅部分啊，皮膚嘅部分去撳佢，其實就唔係靠你啲肌肉去收縮咁簡單啦。我喺外面施加個力去按壓佢，仲要係沿住四肢向住軀幹去按壓，咁其實應該係較為有效嘅。但係啦，你亦都可以反翻轉嚟講嘅，淋巴管佢已經係俾肌肉包圍，咁即係話唔喺皮膚嗰度見得到噶啦。你話按就按噶啦，你咁練幾下咧就得噶啦咩？其實唔係咁容易噶，少年。咁所以你會發現啦，兩個答案咧，我用翻同一個原因咋，我都可以反轉嚟講噶。淋巴管入面有反膜，已經係能夠避免到淋巴液嘅倒流咯。你使乜練佢啫？從個理論上面去理解呢個方法都唔係好合理啫。你唔練佢，你啲淋巴液翻唔到心臟咩？唔係噶，都翻到噶。咁你話啦，咁佢話 valid 係咪即係答案錯？唔係，因為頭先我一直講噶啦，我都唔係探討緊有冇效嘅問題，我係探討緊個效果明唔明顯啫嘛，係咪？就算去到下面啦，你話喂，淋巴管咧喺我哋個身體嘅內部噶，咁啊唔係話捻幾下就得噶。你問下啲按摩師傅得唔得咧？佢實話得噶， 按大力啲咪得咯，頂唔頂得順啊？練多幾下得唔得啊？咁咪解決咗你呢個煩惱咯。所以啦，當你答嘅時候呢，你堅定你嘅意志就得噶啦。究竟你用邊個做原因，從來唔係重點，重點係講緊透過按壓係唔係能夠將淋巴液有效地快少少翻去血液循環系統。好，跟住啦，到第二個目的咯，就係減輕體重啦。咁呢一 part 咧，我哋有一個關鍵嘅概念嘅，就係體重係點樣控制嘅咧。咁根據翻呢幅圖啦，咁啊留意翻咧，我哋之前都有講過啦，能量嘅輸入同埋能量嘅輸出啦。能量輸入大過輸出，自不然你就多咗能量儲喺身體啦，就以脂肪形式儲存啦。能量嘅輸入細過能量嘅輸出，咁你個身體就會運用一啲儲存咗嘅嘢食，例如脂肪啦，去釋放翻能量俾你個身體，從而啦你個體重就會下降啦。第二啦，我哋就要諗下點解通淋巴會俾人一個減輕體重嘅感覺呢？我哋就要明白到，原來當組織液或者淋巴液佢哋積聚咗喺身體嘅某一個組織，例如積聚咗喺隻腳啊，係喺個手臂啊，喺塊面嘅時候呢，的確係會令你浮腫腫嘅，呢個就係水腫嘅現象。咁當你有水腫嘅時候，係咪代表你肥呢？嗰啲係脂肪定係組織液嚟㗎咋？咁究竟我哋能唔能夠透過去水腫去達至減肥嘅效果呢？咁你就睇一睇啦，呢啲圖畫呢，就喺網上都揾到好多噶啦。咁呢幅圖呢，就係講緊啦，一位女士呢，就用嗰啲按壓方法啦，個小腿呢，本身呢，就34.5 cm， 按下之後呢，就按到變咗做33.5 cm。咁原來啦，當我哋減少咗組織液同埋淋巴液喺個四肢嘅積聚呢，會令我哋有一個暫時性顯瘦嘅效果。嗱，留意啊，係顯得你好瘦，唔代表你真係瘦咗。咁啊，因為啦，當啲淋巴液推，由個小腿推翻上去軀幹啊，其實啲淋巴液係冇消失到噶嘛，咁你排走咗出嚟咩？係嘛？你屙尿屙多咗咩？唔係啊，你撳翻去令到佢顯瘦咗啫嘛，當中係冇牽涉到能量輸入同埋輸出嘅改變嘅，你仍然大魚大肉嘅話呢，你只會越嚟越肥嘅啫。咁所以啦，對你減輕體重係冇幫助嘅。而點解有陣時大家有咁嘅錯覺呢？係因為肥人呢，通常係容易啲患有水腫嘅，因為當佢啦成個人坐響樹啊、瞓響樹啊，其實咧佢成個身體嘅重量係已經按壓咗佢個組織，係令到啲組織液啊或者淋巴液咧冇咁容易翻去血液循環系統嘅。又嚟到一點出發啦，今次咧我哋講身體按摩，考兩樣嘢，第一減重，第二就係淋巴循環啦。減重咧就頭先我哋講嘅能量價值啦，能量嘅攝入啦，能量嘅支出啦，兩者點樣做得到係攝入少過支出，從而啦令你有一個減重嘅效果呢？上次我哋講嘅日常生活例子呢，就係食瘦肉變瘦，今次講嘅日常生活例子呢，就係通淋巴減肥，究竟 work 唔 work 呢？跟住啦就到淋巴循環啦，過往咧都有唔少 MC 咧都係講淋巴液嘅點樣產生啊，或者點樣翻去人體嘅血液循環系統啦。今次我想再講嘅呢，就係水腫同埋體液積聚嘅問題啦。顯瘦代唔代表真係瘦呢？今次雖然係講減肥啫，下次啦就真係講水腫又得唔得啊？常見成因啦，同一個姿勢久站或者久坐，太重啦，發炎啦。記唔記得之前我哋講炎性反應啊？紅腫痛熱個腫係點樣形成啊？就係組織液積聚咗喺你嘅受傷嘅位置啊嘛，令到傷口腫脹啊嘛。另一個啦，腎嘅失調啦，你排走水分啊，控制身體嘅體液嘅水勢嘅能力就失調啦。跟住啦，攝入太多嘅鹽分啦，都會令到你有水腫嘅情況嘅。而再引申落去嘅啦，就係處理方法啦。嗱，咁喺翻留言嗰欄咧，我會 attach 一個網址俾大家，大家咧就可以閱讀一下究竟水腫係點樣形成啦，同埋啦點樣處理水腫嘅。見得到啦，其實佢都出得多噶，都係熱門題目嚟噶，當一個小小嘅貼題俾大家嘅。而呢條題目咧都有講到淋巴液翻去血液循環系統啊嘛，咁我哋啦就要用翻整個運輸系統咧嚟做個理解啦，分別就係血液循環嘅系統啦，同埋淋巴液嘅循環系統啦。而呢兩個系統咧，我哋都一定有學噶啦，就係適應性特徵啦，靜脈啦、淋巴管啦、動脈啦。邊個嗰啲血管壁係厚啲啊、薄啲啊？邊一啲嘅血管或者淋巴管係有反膜啊？呢啲知識都係屬於循環系統嘅基本功，記住啦，基本功冇得妥協噶。 217 question 11, the essay question is about the human transport system. Some natural therapists, they claim that applying pressure along one's limb towards the body trunk can improve the circulation of lymph and result in reduced body weight. However, the effects of this treatment are controversial. So first part in this essay, we need to briefly describe how lymph is formed from the blood and return to the blood circulatory system. And for the second part, from each of the claims above, discuss whether it is scientifically valid. So before we go deep in the question, let's go through these 3 steps. Thinking time, any keywords do you need to highlight? Applying pressure along the limbs towards the body trunk, circulation of the lymph, reduction in body weight, lymph formation from blood, and lymph return to blood circulation. And for this question, any precaution, any focus of the essay, anything we need to write, and anything we do not need to write. First part, we need to talk about the mechanism of circulation, formation of the lymph, return of the lymph, formation of the tissue fluid, and for the return of the tissue fluid to the blood is the minor part in this essay. So the first 3 parts, you must be able to handle them because the lymph, if you still remember this, they come from the tissue fluid. So that's why we need to mention the formation of tissue fluid and then talk about the formation of the lymph and return of the lymph. And for the second part, we need to do the judgment for the treatment effectiveness. So we need to recall the concept, the lymph vessel features, the role of the skeletal muscles on the return of lymph, and then the energy input and energy output, because we need to talk about the reduction in body weight. And for the essay scaffolding, how can we present our idea in a logical way? First part, we need to talk about the lymph formation and removal from the tissues. So we need to recall the mechanism involved and recall any body parts and tissue involved. And for the second part, we need to justify if the claims are scientifically valid. So this question is just like the liberal studies question. We are talking about the means and the ends. Is it possible to achieve the certain end by the means? So after we have this briefing, so please download the essay writing worksheet and then we can go deep into the question. This question is the type of description and the daily life cases. So first part, we need to describe how lymph is formed from blood and return to the blood circulatory system. So in this part, we need to recall the mechanism of the tissue fluid and lymph formation and return. And any keywords we need to talk about, the blood pressure, hydrostatic pressure, osmosis, they are the keywords. And we need to point out their importance on the tissue fluid, lymph formation and return. So let's talk about the whole story. Many students, they always complain that biology, there are a lot of things to memory. And today, I want to teach you a new mindset to make your life easier. Because for the whole story, from this question, it gives us some insight to think about the relationship of the tissue fluid and the lymph. And for the whole story, we think about it from the end of the story. So first part, we talk about the return of the lymph to the blood circulation. We need to think about that. Where does the lymph come from? Or the lymph, they come from the tissue fluid. So that's why the second part, we need to think about the formation of lymph from tissue fluid. And then for the tissue fluid, where does it come from? It comes from our blood. So formation of the tissue fluid from the blood is the first part of the story. And it's also echo the question. Briefly describe how lymph is formed from blood. The end of the story is the return of lymph to the blood circulatory system. The beginning of the story is also the blood. So let's present our idea in a logical way. So formation of tissue from the blood. At the arterial end of the capillary bed, you can see that the lumen of the arterial is larger than the lumen of the capillary. So the blood pressure from the arterial to the capillary, it will become higher. And because the capillary wall, it is differentially permeable. So the high blood pressure, the high hydrostatic pressure in the blood in the capillary, they will force something small out of the capillary. So some of the plasma containing the water, glucose, amino acid, mineral salt, they are forced out of the capillary to form the tissue fluid. And remaining blood cells, the red blood cell and plasma proteins, they are too big to leave the capillary. So that's why they stay in the blood and drain to the venous end of the capillary. And it links to the second part, formation of lymph from the tissue fluid. Part of the tissue fluid, the water, they will return the capillary bed at the venous end by osmosis. It's because the plasma protein, they are in the blood, they are in the capillary, so it will lower the water potential of the blood. Meanwhile, the water potential of the tissue fluid, they are higher than the water potential of the blood. So therefore, the water will go back from the tissue fluid back to the blood in the capillary. But that's not the key points. The key points is the second part. Excessive tissue fluid will enter the lymph capillary to the lymph vessel to form the lymph. Due to what? Due to the higher hydrostatic pressure in the tissue space. Not blood pressure, but the hydrostatic pressure. So that's the second part, formation of lymph from the tissue fluid. After the lymph, they go into the lymph vessel. So how do they return to the blood circulation? Go back to the heart. So we need to recall the features of the lymph vessels. The assistance of the contraction of skeletal muscle to squeeze the lymph vessel, and the presence of valves in the lymph vessel to prevent the backflow of lymph. So both of them can make sure the lymph flow along the lymph vessel and eventually return to the heart. After we talk about all the mechanism of the formation and the return of the lymph, so we talk about the means and the end. So for the first end, we talk about the improvement in the lymph circulation. So in this question, is checking the concept that we need to realize the lymphatic system has no pumping. It's different from the blood circulation mechanism because there is a heart to pump the blood out of the heart. However, in the lymphatic system, they just collect the excess tissue fluid from the tissue, then return them back to the blood circulation system. And then we need to recall the adaptive features of the lymph vessel for returning the lymph to the blood circulation. As we mentioned that the valves, they are present in the lymph vessel to prevent the backflow of the lymph along the lymph vessel. Secondly, the skeletal muscles surround the lymph vessel, they will contract and squeeze the lymph vessels. And both of these two adaptive features ensure that there is a unidirectional return of lymph to the heart. So at this point, you may ask that, oh, Mr. Leung, so is this method scientifically valid? And I would like to mention that, so this question is not the matter of effective or ineffective, but the matter of more or less effective. So when you talk about is it valid, don't fall to the trap. Oh, it is effective or it is not effective. What you think should be, or this method, this means is more effective to improve the lymph circulation or less effective to do it. So from the standpoint of valid, the valves of the lymph vessel prevent backflow. And pressing along the lymph vessel, especially along the limbs towards the trunk, so it really helps the return of the lymph to the heart. So you can see that if we really exert some external force on the lymph vessel, it can make the lymph flow a bit faster. So surely it can improve the lymph circulation, right? And what about the other standpoint? It's not valid. So for the lymph vessel, they are surrounded by the skeletal muscle. That means they are not that close to the skin. So even we do the massage, is it really easy to press the skeletal muscle and press the lymph vessel? Not really. So it will make it difficult to improve the circulation by pressing. But I would like to extend your mindset. So even I use this reason, valves of the lymph vessel prevent the backflow, and then I can say it, yes, sure. Even we do not press, even we do not do the massage, that means the lymph, they can still go back to the heart, right? Is it really necessary to do so? So remember that if we only think about effective or ineffective, we fall in this trap. If we really do the massage, so somehow it can increase the lymph rate. And what about the second one? Our lymph vessels are usually found deep inside the body. So this idea is for the invalid concept, right? But what about I explain in this way? Yes, because the lymph vessels, they are usually found deep inside the body. What about we exert some external force, forcefully? The massage technician, they ask you, sir, can I press you harder, forcefully? And you may say that, yes, sure, why not? So it's also a way to explain that the massage can be a way to improve the circulation. And for the second end, lose body weight. In this question, we check your critical concept. You need to recall the mechanism of gaining or losing body weight, and relate the energy balancing, intake, and expenditure to one's body weight. So you can see that overeating results in an increase in body mass. Excess energy will be stored as fat in the body. And what about the undereating? It will result in a decrease in the body mass. So the energy output is higher than the energy input. So we need to break down the food storage, for example, the fat in our body, to release the energy for our daily use. And then we need to go back to the idea. Why the people they think that by doing the body massage, it can help us to lose weight. And we need to realize the possible effect of the accumulation of tissue fluid of the lymph. It will lead to edema. So for the edema, what does it mean? It means that the swollen tissues in our body. So the idea, you need to think about that. Does edema means that you are fat? Can we lose weight if we get rid of edema by doing the body massage? So is it really a way? So you can see that before the treatment and after the treatment, the lymph, it really become a bit slimmer. We reduce the accumulation of the tissue fluid or lymph at the limbs. So it gives us a slimmer appearance temporarily. However, even we do the body massage from the limbs to the body trunk, so it could be more effective to circulate the lymph. However, the lymph only returns to the circulatory system, but is not eliminated. It's not talking about that we remove the excessive water from our body by urination. It's not this way. The water, they are still in your body. Therefore, there will be no change in the body weight. And the most important thing, you need to recall the mechanism, the energy balance. By doing the body massage, it doesn't affect the energy input, output, and the food consumption of the body. So it means that even you do the massage every day, but you keep eating hamburger, soft drinks, fried chicken, whatever, you will be still fat. Therefore, there should be no effect on the body weight. So let's talk about the curriculum mapping. This question, we start from the body massage, and then there are two concepts we are checking: the losing weight and the lymph circulation. We need to mention the energy values, the energy intake and output to do the balancing. So you can also check the video before. Talk about the daily life idea, lean meat diet. Is it a way to lose the weight? Or in this case, is the body massage is a way to lose the weight, or any other method for us to lose some weight? For example, some ladies, they take the drugs to urinate a lot. It would be a way to remove the excessive water. But what about your body fat? You still need to burn it, right? And then for the lymph circulation, so you can see a lot of MC. For example, the lymphatic system, the lymph return to the heart, water movement in human body, and the tissue fluid component. So in this question, I would like to talk about the edema, or we say that the fluid retention. The possible question variation will be asking the edema. It also checks your concept of the lymph circulation. So any common causes: long standing or sitting in the same position, overweight, inflammation. So recall the video we talk about the inflammatory response, the red, the swollen, and the pain, and the hot wound, the infected area. So why it is swollen? Because there are accumulation of tissue fluid in the infected area or the wound, right? So it will cause edema. And maybe the kidney failure because we cannot urinate. We cannot remove the excessive water in our body and control the water potential of our body fluid. And the excess salt intake, it will also lead to edema. And then the question, it may also ask you any treatment, or they give you some treatment and they ask you to justify, is this treatment effective? So I will attach a link in the comment section. So you can take a look at this part. So as a prediction of the question in the following DSE. In the question, it also asks about the lymph return to the blood circulatory system. We need to do the revision for the transport system, the circulatory system, and we need to recall any adaptive features in the circulatory system. The blood vessels, the lymph vessels, even the heart muscle, the capillary, or is the vessel wall thick or thin? Is it the vessel wall muscular or elastic? Are there any valves present in the vessel? There are a lot of adaptive features in this chapter. They are all the fundamental concepts in this chapter.